Good afternoon, Keith Tebow from FRCMedia. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. You know, we've done a lot of talking about how schools are reopening in Fall River. We've talked about the public schools, some of our parochial schools, our private and charter schools. But we want to talk about another school that is in Fall River and across Bristol County. Bristol Community College is getting set to begin its fall semester beginning on September 8th. And we want to touch upon how the school is handling enrollment and how students can still register for classes. We're still 2 weeks away, but there's still plenty of opportunities for students to register. I'm pleased to be joined by Dean Kate O'Hara from Bristol Community College. Kate, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to see you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. You know, Bristol, when the pandemic hit back in March, Bristol, like other higher educational institutions and local schools, sort of shut down and we went remote. Since that time, a lot of the services at the college are still remote. Students can register for classes remotely. But the thing that's important to note is the services at Bristol Community College, there has been no interruption in the services of the college to the community. And I guess that we wanted to bring you on just to talk about how the enrollment process has been handled remotely, actually probably since March and April when the fall semester classes opened up. So let me just ask you, Kate, how has remote enrollment been working for the college, and what's been the reaction of some students?
Sure. Well, you're absolutely right. It's been business as usual since we went remote, and certainly had to work out a few things to make that happen. But I think it's been fantastic for our students, and our staff and faculty have just been phenomenal in their ability to be flexible and find a way to make sure that students stay on track to fulfill their dreams. So we continue to do everything remotely. We don't have in-person services in our admissions area. We're doing virtual appointments. We're doing virtual information sessions and financial aid as well to help students understand how to finance their education. Our academic advising is helping students to register remotely. And our enrollment center is there on the front lines, just taking phone calls and emails for all the different questions that students might have during this time.
I know that, you know, when the fall semester classes begin, actually students that are at Bristol can actually start enrolling for the fall, those who are coming back as early as April. And we're seeing obviously the end run here in terms of fall in some respects. In terms of students accessing, those students who are returning, they may have already done a lot of their admissions and enrolling remotely to begin with. Is that correct? You know, so it may not be as foreign to them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, we've had the continued services all the way through the spring, and for summer as well. We have a summer session and we've had students with us remotely. And so they sort of know it's, the same people you've been working with the entire time. And, from our various locations, it's just we're all doing it through Zoom or Teams or on the phone or email. And so it's really in some ways made it easier to access because you can kind of with the push of a button be communicating with somebody and get the answers that you need. So I think our returning students have found it to be quite helpful to get what they need and be able to move on with all the busyness of their lives.
And in terms of new students, in some ways, this is the only thing they know, right? Because they haven't had any in-person experiences. I want to talk about a couple of areas in particular. New students that join the college have to take placement testing to see if they need any courses that may help them in math or in reading. Those in the past have been held in person. They're now remote. How is that working for students, and how then they've been able to adapt to take those placement tests?
Sure. And so our placement testing office has done a phenomenal job of trying to meet students where they are. And so we are doing it remotely. We have the software to do the service remotely. And so students are issued a voucher code and they can schedule a time that's convenient for them to go ahead and take the test from the comfort of their own home or from somewhere else where they have access to technology. And I think that's worked well for students. There's some flexibility with that allows them to work around their schedules, which has been nice. Our testing office has also been able to offer a lot of different ways to exempt students from testing. So we know that if students have a certain high school GPA, they might not need to take the placement test. We've had a lot of different ways that we can look at things to say, how do we help you? How do we make this easier for you? How do we make it, an easier process to enroll at Bristol? We know some students have not had the technology to be able at home to be able to test remotely. Perhaps you have several family members that are all sharing one computer, and it's not as easy to do that. So on a very limited basis, we have allowed students to come to campus with all the safety precautions that are necessary to be able to test so that they're not stopped up from enrolling in this fall.
And another big area of concern for students is, okay, I've applied, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to register for classes. That advising piece to make sure that students are following a proper path, that is all being done remotely. And again, being done in a way that's efficient and actually meets the schedule of some students, correct?
Absolutely. And our advisors have been fantastic in helping students navigate the different course offerings that we have. So we know we have some courses that are what we call hybrid, where there's a little bit of a limited component where students would safely come to campus for their coursework. Others are fully online. Some have times that they meet up online, and some are done sort of as they can with their schedule permitting. And so I think our advisors have done a phenomenal job of helping students pick the courses that work best for them, both in their lifestyle and what they have going on, but also with their learning needs to make sure that they have what they need.
I guess another aspect of new students trying to experience college is there's usually a series of events that are geared toward orientation in terms of getting the student connected with the campus in some ways. Unfortunately, for the fall of 2020, that's being done remotely, but I know that there's a virtual orientation that's available for new students that really gives them as much of the on-campus experience as possible in terms of getting ready for classes here at Bristol.
Absolutely. Our Student and Family Engagement Office developed a wonderful program, and it's a mix of making certain students have all the information they need about resources. It's also helping them understand how to be an online learner. We know many of our students perhaps have not studied in an online environment before. And so we know that's important so that students can feel confident when they're taking their online classes, that they're prepared before they even sign on the first day. So that's been a big piece. And then lastly, our Student and Family Engagement Office has offered programs all through the summer to help students engage with each other, with faculty and staff, and to get excited and get that sense of school spirit that everybody wants to feel when they're coming to campus in the fall.
And we know that even though most of the offerings for a good number of students are going to be remote for the fall semester, there are some hybrid classes, as you mentioned. So there will be some students on campus as well. It's important to note that there'll be more of these types of interactions in terms of extracurricular activities that students will still be able to take part in, even though they're going to be taking their classes remotely. There's going to be some innovative ways for them to do that when classes start, and they can get that campus experience when they begin in the fall, right?
Absolutely. We'll have programming all through the semester, all through the year. We will continue to do things, might be a little bit different, might be in a virtual way, but certainly an opportunity for students to engage. And I think one of the really neat things is that students from all 4 of our campuses might be able to attend a program or an event and engage with each other in a way that perhaps they wouldn't if we were on site. Perhaps they might be more limited to their own campus. And so this really expands students' ability to network, to connect with one another, and to learn from each other.
One thing I want to get into now is the fact that it's not too late, right? We're recording this August 24th. Classes start September 8th. That's actually the deadline for students to register for classes. So that's still 2 full weeks. And some people who may be looking to get back to school, whether they're thinking about taking a year off. I know a lot of students who maybe looking at 4-year institutions and maybe a little put off at classes because of whatever's happening at their 4-year institution. Bristol is a great option for them, and it's never too late to start. You still have time to do that. So I guess, how can people find out more information about getting ahead on their classes, getting a start, or continuing in their courses if they're at a current 4-year institution where some classes may be able to transfer?
Sure, and that's a great point. And we really, I think, it's more important than ever that people stay on track with their education during this time. I think it can be very easy to say, I just want to take a break and maybe, let the dust settle, and then I'll pick things back up again. And we just know that the research shows that that's a lot harder to do than people think. And so we really encourage, Bristol's a fantastic opportunity. As you mentioned, September 8th is the last day to apply to the college. So there's plenty of time to get in with one of our admissions counselors and talk about what it could look like to study at Bristol. We have lots of different options. We do know that there are students who had a change of plans, and that's okay. We have fantastic advisors that can help you navigate how classes that you take at Bristol might transfer back to another institution. So if you know that you're not able to attend your four-year school at this time, we can make that easy for you to stay on track and continue on with your dreams. The best thing to do if people are interested for more information, our website, bristolcc.edu, has all the information you could need, all the different scenarios that we might have with students coming from different directions and not really sure what they want to do and what their next step is. We've got all different paths and people ready to support you. And I think that's the most important thing. We are here, we are open, and we are just so committed to making sure that our students can be successful.
And one of the things that's always important to note with a community college, and specifically Bristol, is the fact that a lot of the courses that you can take, as you mentioned, will transfer to a four-year institution, and usually and more than likely at a lower price, right? And that's very important for some people who, during this time of COVID-19, maybe still looking for work, maybe out of work, but it's important for them to know that there's an affordable option for them here at Bristol.
Absolutely. High quality at a low cost. And you really can't do much better than that. And Bristol is so committed to those things and making sure that we can make college a reality for people in our community. And so really, you would be surprised. And the other thing is we have financial aid. And many times students think that they might not even qualify for financial aid, but you would be surprised. The money is there. And it's really important that you can look into that and see and apply. The application to apply for federal financial aid is free. It doesn't take anything. You just need some documents to pull together, and our staff is there to help you navigate that and make sure you fill it out correctly. And then you can have help even more above and beyond the low cost tuition, but then have federal financial aid on top of that to help as well.
Right. So it's all part of the message of it's not too late, right? Even for financial aid, it's not too late. You can still get in and get some awards to help you with your education. So that's all great. Kate O'Hara, Dean at Bristol Community College, I thank you for your time. Thank you for informing us about the great work that's still going on at Bristol, and classes start very soon, and we'll be back into it at Bristol Community College. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we want to thank you for joining us here at FRC Media. I'm Keith Tebow. Enjoy the rest of your day.